Hello everyone. So this is just another update of what I did yesterday. Uh, we're gonna be doing the baseboard. Maybe I don't know. Maybe today, or I can come back. I have to come back next week because I gotta do this wall here. So this is all I got here. So uh, was gonna also used to let you guys know, just in case if you guys want to do tile, or any one of you guys watching want to do tile on your bathrooms or floors or walls or whatever. I highly recommend this system. uh, it's a spin doctor, that's what it's called. I usually get my stuff from a store here in Garden City, where I'm from, and it's this right here. So I used to use the wedges, but I found out that they're not as precise as this thing is. The wedges, you still have a little bit of gaps and lippage on your tile, so these things you can lift the towel up in case it's off, and it will bring it to level with the spacers, with the other tile too. So the other thing that they sell too for this system is there's on the spinners, there's like a little washer type thing that goes into this, so that keeps your spinner from scratching your tile, especially the one that's really shiny. the the smoother, the glossier the tile is, the easier it is to scratch, because when you time this and you happen to get thin set, especially the one that's heavy sanded, it will leave a mark. So this one, it doesn't, because it has a texture to it, and it's porcelain. So, and this is what I'm talking about. When it gets there you go. When it gets dirty from, and you will get it dirty because it's working on tile. So I did got my deal yesterday here. The only thing that's gonna be off is this line. I have this line, and it threw me off because this is a whole tile right here. So I have the actual tile seam that's a 2 foot distance from the edge to edge, and this is a cut that's where the bevel starts going down the slope. So that's gonna stay there. So did all that yesterday. So I started, I think, about maybe 9 in the morning. So, and I stayed until 10 something, almost 11, I think. Can't remember how much or what time I left, really. So and this deals, you gotta let them set at least for a good 12 hours, 24 hours the best. And all you do, you don't want to just screw them off or unscrew them and then get rid of the white deal. So the way that you knock these things out is just tapping with your foot or a rubber hammer, and that comes off just like that. So what you have, and especially you have to, like, if it goes in the spacer goes this way, you can do this all you want and you won't break them. You have to go against the line, so they will break. So that's what that is. And for this on tiles bigger than 12 by 12s, I tend to use large tile or large tile format setting, which is always in, you can tell on the bags. I used the black thin set because they had it available at the Home Depot. So uh, when it's bigger tile, you want to have this on it. So that's a large tile format. This thing has more of a sand texture, and it does not sag as fast as the other stuff. You use regular thin set, you will have sagging tiles on this. So, and the other thing too, and I use this on pretty much everything. So I used to use the smaller trowels. So, but since I started using the 1/2 inch notch, which is this one right here. So on this house, you do not want to use a 1/4 by 1/4 inch notch, because look at the spacing on the ground between the concrete. That's about a 3/16 or something close to that. So that's what the spacing on this does, 3/16. So when you have, let's say, a 1/4 inch tile trowel notch by a 1/4 inch, if the concrete's a little bit offset on bumps or some irregularities, it will be noticeable. So you do not want that. You want to have the more thin set, the better, and make sure that on these things, this is porcelain, so this is not ceramic. Ceramic tile, it's more porous, softer, easier to break, easier to chip. Ceramic tile on the back, let me find a piece here. It's a very porous backing, so when you install it, you have to get it wet first. You have to make sure that the backing gets all moisture, because if you install it and don't get it wet, the backing will suck up the moisture and it will not have a good adhesion. This thing is porcelain, so you can tell that it got wet, but there's still water there. So this thing, you do not have to get them wet. The ceramic tiles you do, because as long as you soak them up in water, all the shine disappears, and this doesn't. So this will keep your moisture on the thin set, and it will cure and get hard slower and better. So that's one thing about porcelain. And also porcelain, you cannot, well, at least on my case, some people might have it different, but on my case, I have one of those manual tile cutters that scribe the tile on the top, and then you push the little lever thing and breaks it in half and does the job. So that's easier. That works perfect on ceramic tile. If I had that thing yesterday, I would have this bathroom already done and gone into the other one, because all you had to do is scribe it, make a line, pop it, breaks. But not the case with this stuff, because this is a lot harder. So I tried scribing it and popping it, and you cannot get a straight edge on this thing, so you had to use a saw. So that's what the deal is. The other thing, I did made a line over here, because this is all new concrete, so I did put a tape in there and put a thin set. So, and it goes right along the side of the ground line. So, and just in case this thing tends to one day which it will flex because it's new concrete, and it will move, so it will crack right in the line. And there's this other line over here, and we'll see what happens. I did tell them about it because at our new church in Garden City with the tile, and it cracked on the lines, so that will happen on new concrete. Doesn't matter how much you mess with it, how much you take care of it, it will flex and it will settle down at some point. So some places don't happen, but eventually will. So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. Just because it's new concrete and it's new tile, it's not always 100% guarantee that it will stay in one piece. Sometimes what it will do, if the tile is strong enough or thick enough, like this, the seam is about 1.5 inches away from the gap over here. Sometimes what it will do, it will crack right on the seam of the tile instead of the tile. But like this one, it's about 8 inches from the side, so it will probably have a hairline crack along the side there, along with the seam, especially if you have a really strong winter and the ground freezes. Like sometimes we get cold days. We had them up down to, with a wind chill down to -45 where I'm from. So that does make a difference on the concrete, and it will move. So that's one thing that you have to keep it in mind. The other one that I haven't had any issues yet that I've seen is when they do the concrete with fiberglass. They tend not to use rebar or wire on that thing because it's already reinforced with fiberglass, and I've seen some hairline cracks on concrete like that too, but that seemed not to have a lot of issues with cracking and stuff like that. So I have problems with this, especially when it's the cheaper 3500 psi type. The higher psi you go on it, the better, the stronger it gets. And if you have rebar wire, it's better. And also if you have moisture barrier underneath the concrete, like above the bed of sand, it keeps the moisture from coming up, just in case, especially around the edges, just in case the moisture comes in. Like let's say that you have rain for if it's raining for like a week or two, that moisture will go somewhere. So that's one thing that these things have issues with. I mean, it will not go all the way into the 20 feet down into the building, but it will go down. Like this is the edge of the building outside. There's dirt out there, so and I've seen that. So the other thing too, these tiles, the other question too, and it says that on the box. Let me find one. If I find one, I think I have one right here. So this is a kind of a crucial point in some tiles. Not everything is the same, but I do play by the rules, and you do have to have common sense and follow the instructions on the box. If not, somebody's not gonna be happy, especially the boss, which most of the time is the ladies. That's the ones that do all the choosing and things. So, but this is a setting if you was to do your lines like right in the middle. This tile is 2 feet by 1 foot. So if you was to have your seam right on the middle, these tiles, they do tend to have leakage. No matter what you do, you will have some leakage. Leakage is like your lip on this tile is higher than the other one, so that's, you do not want that. So the easier, and I found this out later on some stuff, some tiles tend to bow out in the middle, and some of them sometimes they come with mistakes and they're not exactly uh, the same width or thickness sometimes, because they're factory tiles. So these things are made by machines, so you're not gonna get exactly the same diameter or dimensions on some of these tiles. That happened to us in Garden City when we did our church. There was a few tiles that was used a little over 1/16 of an inch wider on one side, and we was doing 3/16 of an inch grout lines. So that threw us off because you already had a big area, like you was doing, let's say, like if I was doing all this and all this is the same, and then you didn't pay attention because you don't notice it. But let's say that you start on this tile right here, and then you all of a sudden you notice that this tile is bigger than the one that you just put in. So this is already set in because the day before you already installed it, and this is an eighth or a little over 1/16 of an inch wider than the rest of them. So that's gonna throw this line off, and it's gonna throw the rest of my line off. So sometimes it's easier used to go with and I used to do this. I used to go with a 1/4 inch ground line. That way, if I had a mistake like that, that would be easier to hide it. But the narrower your line is, the harder it gets to hide it. So that causes problems. And you don't get them all the time, but there's sometimes a few times that you will get that. So far on this one, I haven't had any problems. The only thing that they wanted to do here, they wanted to have the lines like super tight, like 1/16 of an inch. But I did explain to them that there's if you see let me see if I can get it closer. Well, you can tell right now, I guess. It's kind of getting blurry, but there's a little lip on this towel right here. There you go. Where the marking is, it's wider than the top of the towel that has the glaze, and it's right here. This is the end of the tile, and if you look at it, see if I can get it to, oh, I guess it doesn't do it. But anyway, the bottom of the towel, and that's because of the factory, that's because of the the machine that makes them. So it's a little wider than this side over here. This is flat, pretty much. This has a little lip. So when you combine the two ends, it's gonna be a wider gap than this end, because this end don't have the little lip. I mean, it has a little bit, but it's not as noticeable as this one. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind too. If you wanna be like real precise on things and perfectionist on things, you will not ever get something perfect, especially on tile, because something's gonna be off, something is gonna be thrown out, and it's not gonna be exactly the same everywhere. So you will have mistakes, you will not have anything perfect, just like this thing right here. That's 1/2 inch gap in there, so I do have to have uh, I'm gonna just do a whole tile there and just call it good, because I can't, that's where the slope starts. So, and I'm just gonna get the grinder and cut a line through here to this one. I could have brought this tiles over here longer, but that's a whole tile deal, so I can't mess with that. So that's gonna be one thing, and I did explain that to him. So you're gonna notice that. Also, these edges, these corners, the drain, these tips, usually they tend to break because I use the grinder to make the circle. So when that happens, they always something chips or something breaks. So that's gonna be all silicone with the grout color, and it's gonna be grouted with some I think it's gonna be some dark gray color or something like that. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. So right here, I think I'm just gonna do the tile on the floor, because they're gonna do the countertop and the sink. So I don't know if it's gonna be like an entire box or it's gonna be an open area right here. So I don't exactly know what that's gonna go or what that's gonna be. So I'm thinking of later on use, if they're gonna have that open, still have the baseboard tile on top. So, and over here I think it's gonna go maybe 4 foot, come to the end of the wall and down. So, and I'm not gonna put a baseboard here. I'm just gonna go straight up and do the tiles that way. So the other thing too that I wasn't prepared to do, it's normally when I do tile on the wall, I do have my hole saw, and I have this pipe sticking out this way some more, like at least 4 inches or so, and have the tile hole the same diameter as the pipe. So when I do the tile, you slide it into the pipe and then do the little ring. But this, folks, and this is the first time I've seen this, they did it different. They have a bigger deal here, and the water line that's fixed. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. So on this thing, I'm gonna have to either find a wider ring, or what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to maybe cut a triangle and make the hole there as the diameter of the deal, so they have to, in case they fix it or change it, they have access to it. I just don't like these big holes here on the wall. They look ugly to me. But what I do the hole on the tile, then do the ring, and that will cover the whole entire thing out. So especially those chrome ones or white ones or whatever color you choose. But that's about it. So what I'm gonna be doing here today, I'm gonna knock all these deals off, and I'm gonna do the rest of this over here, which will be easier. I just have to mess around with the toilet there, so that's gonna be a little time consuming, but the rest of it's gonna be fine. I did have the lines straight on this wall, so all these measurements, all the side tile there is exactly the same size, same width. So, but what threw me off was this wall is off of, it's not square. So something is not, either this wall's not square or this one is not square. So this is the outside wall. So I'm thinking this wall is not square. So, but that's one thing that you will notice here. And somebody that has an eye for things, they will see it. There's 1.5 piece of tile there. That one's supposed to be 1.5 inches. It's not, because the wall moves inward. So same thing with that one. So that didn't work. But I rather have that in there because the tile is gonna cover up that mess, the mistake, and instead of this one. So you wanna have your nice looking tiles, nice cuts, where everybody's gonna see it. You don't wanna have like let's say that you start on that wall and come out this way, which usually that's what happens. You have to start on half of the wall in the corner somewhere and then work your way out. But on this case, since the stalls are gonna be here, the toilets are gonna be there, that's gonna be an open area. So you do wanna have your nice cuts in there because that's what you're gonna see. So your baseboard is gonna be there, your lines are gonna be there, and that's what you want. You don't want to have 2 inches of a cut tile right here and 3/4 of an inch over there. That you will redo the whole entire floor if you do that. So make sure that when you do, unless it's an open space, sometimes, and have that on places that are like super off on squares. That I had to have right in the middle of the room. I do have to have like the starting point and go both ways and make sure that because one time I did a job and there was a difference of 3 inches on one side and 2 inches on the other side of like a 20 some long bedroom, which it was off. It was an addition that I did on the house, and it wasn't square. So what I did, and I did explain to the customer what I was gonna do and what was gonna happen, but it was the big squares. It was 16 by 16. So what I did, I started right in the middle of the room and went and worked my way both ways, outward into the four sides of the room. So when I got to the edge, I did have half of a tile to cut, and I mean you can tell that it was off, but since you have a big piece of tiles, you do not notice it because that's just the way that the room was. Now if they wanted it to be perfect, uh, I did have to have like a pattern of tiles somewhere and hide the mistake into fancy patterns or stuff like that, which you can do, but or redo the wall, move it, and make sure everything's like square. So which a lot of the times don't happen, and they were okay with it. So when I did my bill, I did explain to him what the problem was and make sure he agreed with it. I did talk to him about it before I even started the job and showed him where the mistake was and how off the wall was, and he says, yeah, it's fine, no big deal. So he's like, nobody's not gonna notice it but you. But I said, well, I did, but now I'm telling you so you notice it and now you know about it, so just in case something like that goes off. So, and that's just something that happens on even new places. They if you're off like a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch, sometimes that's normal because nothing's gonna be perfect on a house unless like you are super super precise on things and you're like off a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. That's calling it good. So, and that's the raw framing. The finished, when you're done with that stuff, I mean you're like, you have to be there like in 1/16 or less, and that's like pushing it. So, and it's fine. I've seen some people that work that way, and that's good. But in a lot of places you're gonna have mistakes. Walls are gonna bow. Walls are gonna be offset. uh, Things are not gonna be square, like use like this thing. If I was to put a square over here, uh, and that's another thing that some people don't understand. When you do your drywall and you do your mudding on these corners, always it's off because you put your tape and your mud, and you put like 3 layers more of mud and skim it and stuff. So this corner is never always square. So when you do your base, you always cope it and stuff. So when you do your tile, uh, there's gonna be a gap somewhere because it's off just because of the seams, just like right there. So, and over here there's a, and I want to try to hide it, but there's a, where the bubble is, there's a piece of concrete from the foundation on the outside, so I can't do nothing to it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna bring the towel out, and it's gonna be a 2-foot piece. So that's what I wanna be messing with next week sometime. So I think that's all the explaining I had to do. So that's just one thing that I was keeping in mind of things. Some people, they do these things without spacers, so they just go and throw any thin set anywhere or everywhere, use any trowel. I've seen people even do concrete to stick the stuff on the floor or on the walls. They just slap it on the back like globs of concrete, stick it on the wall. You come back a week later, the whole thing is in the ground because it doesn't stick. It's not made for that stuff. So you do use, you have to use the right stuff for things. So I guess that's, I'm gonna cut this out. So as I go, I'm gonna keep it updating and stuff, and see um, how long it takes, because right now I gotta work on the other bathrooms in Garden City to doing texture and finish painting and doing all kinds of stuff. They want this done over here before lights. Where are lights? There you go. They want it done before the May 10th, so I do want to have this done before even May 10th. So they gotta do the carpet. I think we're gonna come back and help them do the carpet and stuff. So this is the latest bathroom, which is bigger, and it's gonna be more time consuming because the toilets. So you're gonna have to cut I'm gonna have to cut all the holes, and that's it's a little messy, so time consuming too. So, and over here I'm gonna have the line. Also, I'm gonna start on this line right here. So I don't know how thick the concrete is, but I do want to start on this line, have my grout line on both sides. On this one, I'm not too worried about. If it will crack, it will crack, so it will have a crack line. But on this one, I do want to work because it's the only line that goes into the bathroom right here. So, and it's bigger, so I want to have as my that as my starting point. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have either a thin line over here or a thin piece of tile over here somewhere, so it's gonna be a little off. But this is the open area again, so since that line's there, I'm gonna have to bring the tiles from the inside to the outside. So this is gonna start over here, and hopefully this thing is square, which I measured it and it's pretty close. It's like a 1/4 inch off, but it's there. So once I have that, that's gonna be open. So this is where the door is and stuff. So, and I don't know if they're gonna have any something under the sinks, like a open area, or just like a box, like a countertop thing, or I don't know what they're gonna do with it. So I'll find out later on when I get back. So, but this is all the visible stuff over here. So I want to try to have some nice pieces to come out this way, because that's what you're gonna see. So hopefully this thing goes straight. Hopefully that wall is straight, square. And that's it. So the other thing I was also too gonna let you know, I came over here some time back, last year, no, 2 years ago, or last year, I can't remember. It's been a while. I've been doing so many things that I lost track of stuff. So I was doing the stone outside, so I might take a little peek and a little video outside and show it to you guys. But I helped tape and mud this room over here. This wall was moving by itself because there was no support up there. So I do remember this thing because it was the first room in the corner, and I had nothing to do, so I came over here and start mudding, and also I did some taping and mudding inside these classrooms, and I think I did some taping in this room too. I can't remember, but I know I did taping and mudding on this thing, which I think I got it pretty close to the finished part. So and since I'm over here, let's just go to the stone and I'll show you the type of stone. I mean, I do install that stuff, I like it, but I like more I do hand carved concrete and make it look like stone. So I'm kind of an artist in a way, so I like doing things out of concrete and things. But this is the entryway. So just like the tile, I was gonna show you guys the stone, and this thing's never perfect. This thing sometimes bowed, sometimes it's all curved and stuff, so it's always a mess sometimes. But this is the entrance, and I'm gonna show you guys a mistake that I did explain to the customer that happened, and you will have problems on this thing too. So if you're a perfectionist, you will have issues with this stuff. So over here we started from the top, because that's your starting line. So this stone, you do have to have a mesh wire that's made for stone, the expanded metal, and you had to install a double layer of black tar paper, the heavy stuff, and screw it every 6 to 10 inches apart, and then do a layer of concrete and do the scratch coat. The scratch coat, a lot of people, they just grab a broom and start like scratching like these lines right here. I don't. I like to grab my 1/4 inch by 3/8 notch, like a tile trowel, and I have my scratch coat thick and really rough. The rougher, the better adhesion you have to the stone, especially if it's going to be a big area. It's more concrete, but it does a lot of better job. And you can see the gap. You do have to have a gap on the bottom of these things for water seepage. So you do not want to have the stone like right against your floor. You have to have a gap, just like siding on a window sill or a trim on some sill. Every time that you have a bottom piece like this, you do have to have a gap. So that's a given thing. And the other thing that I was gonna show you here, since I'm here and I saw this little deal, this stone is made in molds of silicone, and it's pretty much powdered concrete and like super light sand and stuff like that. So it's really light, really easy to chip. There's a chip right here that already happened. So what you can do on this thing, you can grab some paint, go match some paint from the store or whatever, some flat paint. You don't want any glossy or any latex, you have to have acrylic, and match this stuff up, like do some kind of a matching, and it will give, after you paint it, it will give texture, because when you paint it, it's gonna look like this. So it's not a big deal, you don't have to replace the whole thing. You just paint it, call it good. But that's the problem with these stones. There's another one over here. This is from a machine or something, because it's rounded. So what you can do on this thing, since it's noticeable, you can chip the rest of the stuff off, break it, and paint it the same color, or do something dark like this, and you will not notice it. So if you can do tile, you can do this too. It's not a big deal. I do this, I do brick. I haven't done any block yet. You can do any kind of stone and stuff. So but this is just stack stone. This is something that you can get from the box store and get different colors and stuff. But I mean, I like to do my own thing. I like to do like the own your own unique look. So, and this is sealed, so after I get this installed, I like to seal it with because this is powder coat color, so over the years this thing will fade on you. So I can't remember what the name of this deal was, but it's some kind of an epoxy sealer that you have to spray it, because when you spray it, it will suck up into the stone, because it's porous, it's powdered. So you have to wait 24 hours and do another coat, and the second coat, you will notice that it will stay shiny on the surface. That means that the first coat, it already dried up and sealed it. So the second coat is just to have pretty much a nice protection on it. So that's what I like to do on my jobs. I like to seal my stone. I like to seal pretty much everything that's outdoor, because I want it to last. The customer pays a lot of money for this stuff, so might as well just go full gear with it and make sure it stays forever. The other stuff that I do, it lasts. I've done jobs 20 some years ago, and they still look the same. So you gotta take care of your stuff. But I was gonna show you here the deal here. There's your gap, and I didn't notice it because there's the bow. So when I saw that, I wanted to let him know that there was gonna be a gap over here, and that you do have to follow your line. I had the option of doing a chalk line across the whole thing and filled up these edges with small pieces, but that did not work. You was able to tell. And what I did, what did I do here? I can't remember. I started on the bottom. No, yeah, I did. I started on the bottom, because on the bottom you have your nice half-inch gap on the bottom. So I did start that up because of this. And then, as you can tell, I cut the pieces. This is This is one piece. There's your cut piece over here. This is a whole piece over here, and there's a cut piece over here. So there's a half piece cut over here. There's another half piece cut over here, and there's a piece over here that's bigger than this side over here. There's the same over here. So with this stuff, you do have to find out and figure out how you're gonna hide your mistake, because this is not my mistake. It was this, the foam. So when you do stucco, make sure that you have these things chalked, or get a laser, or do some plywood or something that has to have like a straight edge on this, and then you have your deal here. The other thing that you can do too, if this thing was flat, you can extend this deal to down more and have your straight edge on your stucco. But that's if it was like a flat, like the surface over here, because you can do that. You can do your patching and stuff. But that's what happened. This is also sealed, so everything's all sealed. So I think I did that back probably 3 years ago. So and that's what it looks like so far. So that's the other thing that I was wanting to show you guys, since I'm here. Might as well just show it to you, just in case you guys decide to do some stuff like that too, or have questions or whatever. So on every job you're gonna have mistakes, just like them fancy doors there. They look square and nice, but there's always mistakes on anything construction. You're gonna have issues. So unless you live in a perfect world, lights, there you go, then you will be okay. But if you work on construction, you will have mistakes, you will have issues. If you're a truck driver, you're gonna have breakdowns. If you're working in an office or in a secretary, somebody's gonna be off, somebody's gonna have an attitude. So if you're a salesman, you're not gonna be selling all the time. If you're a painter, which I am, you're gonna have mess ups. You're gonna have your paint spill. You're gonna have your paint fall on stuff. You're gonna paint your clothes. You're gonna lose your brushes. You're gonna drop your phone on the bucket, which I haven't done yet. I probably, hopefully, never will, but never know. If you're a concrete installer, you're gonna have problems. So this is a never-ending stuff of a perfect world anywhere. So that's just the way of life. But lights, where are you? There you go. So they're waiting for the exhaust fan over here to have done for the ladies and the men's. I think they're gonna attach that to the deal. So I really don't want to have any tile here yet, just in case something drops and breaks it or whatever. So but yep, that's the deal. I'll keep you all updated on this stuff. Oh, the other thing too, since I'm here, this metal is not for tile really, but it's gonna work, because I needed a reduction piece, and Home Depot, they didn't have any on this color. They had it in silver, which will not match the rest of the metal, so we did this. So what I'm gonna do, this is the main entry, so the people are gonna be stepping on this thing all the time. So they're gonna have this floor here or something close to this right here on this still. So you want to have your metal on top of your flooring. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to adhere this to the tile, because see it comes in, or the tile comes inside of it about an eighth or so inside. So you want to have that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this deal down on the concrete side over here. And when they do the flooring, they have to make sure that they push the vinyl underneath your metal piece. That way you don't have a gap. You don't want to butt it to it. You want it away from it. You want it underneath like this. So, and that's why I did that. I had to put the metal in because you have your metal piece over here, and this thing cannot move anywhere. So once you have it in, it's gonna stay there. So the thing to do is just to adhere it and keep it there. Make it look nice. If it was floor wood or wood floor, I would do the same thing with a piece of wood, oak or something. But since it's gonna be vinyl and tile, and then you have your nice bullnose end caps, the same color, just match it to this, because they're gonna have black doorknobs. I'm sure they're gonna have some black faucets or fixtures or something, so you want to have your stuff to match everywhere. So, and that's it. Don't want to be boring on this stuff, but that's what the deal is so far. So I'll come back next week and post the rest of the stuff. So it's gonna be a few days before I get this done, so I'll keep on posting as I go. So I don't know how many videos I'm gonna make of this, but as I go and find stuff, I'll let you guys know. So eventually I'm gonna take a last video of the whole thing and do just a little bit of explaining what I used and stuff like that, and get a few pictures and do it in one. So, but so far that's all I wanted to explain. So, and I did some videos yesterday, and I did explain this deal here, the water barrier. That's what you want on the wall if you want to have tile, just in case you mop or whatever. You have baseboard of wood or vinyl or whatever. Vinyl looks tacky. You want to have some nice stuff. Wood, you can do wood. The only thing that when you mop this, you're gonna be smearing water on or mopping water into the wood, and it's gonna eventually mess up. So on wet areas like this, bathrooms, kitchens, living rooms, it's always recommended to, and you don't have to do it, it's just kind of looks nice. It's a nice feature. But if you do a lot of mopping, it's always nice to have your base out of tile, because that way it gets wet and nothing happens to it. So that's one thing. So it has a plastic around it, all the corner bead, and then I'm gonna have a gap on the towel, probably about an eighth or so above that. And what I'm gonna do here, and this is what you want in your corners. You don't want to have just grout. You want to have the siliconized grout. It comes on the tubes, the 20-ounce tubes. So you want to have that on each corner, and you want to have on that corner there meeting the tile from the floor to the wall. You don't want to have grout, regular grout on the corners. Always use siliconized grout, the same color as what you're gonna use here. So that will flex, because sometimes these walls they will move and it will flex outward. so you want to have that to flex with it. So if you have grout by itself, use regular grout, it will crack and it will eventually come apart from the wall. So you use the flex grout, it will go with it, it will flex with it, and you will not have that gap. Plus you will have your adhesion, and all your grout line is going to be nice and tight, so there will be no water going outward that way. But that's what we did. And um so far that's it. So I'll keep you posted on the next ones, and the next ones are probably gonna be shorter and down to the point. So but we'll see you next time.